Good day, everyone. I am Shaina T. Basote, one of the member of our group. So today, we're exploring the evolution of art movements, medieval to modern, and how the later groundwork of modern artistic expression will be focusing on the transition starting with the medieval periods. So the medieval period, or the Middle Age, spanning roughly 1,000 years from the 4th century, the division of the Roman Empire to the beginning of the Renaissance, was a time of immense artistic diversity. It wasn't a single style, but a collection including early Christian, Byzantine, Anglo-Saxon, Viking, Insular, Carolingian, Ottonian, Romanesque, and Gothic. Think of the catacomb paintings in Rome, the magnificent Byzantine monuments like Hagia Sophia, and the stunning mosaic in Ravenna, such as the Betrayal of Christ we see here. Then there are the beautifully illuminated manuscripts like the Landeswarnings Gospel and the Book of Kells. Particularly, we saw the rise of Charles Magnus Palatine Chapel, the grandeur of monast cathedrals like Santiago de Compostela, and the soaring height of Gothic cathedrals like Amiens, Reims, and Notre Dame. So moving to the Renaissance, which is flourished in Europe during the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries, marked a significant shift. It wasn't just about painting, but it encompasses sculpture, architecture, music, and literature. While the traditionally seen as a sudden rebirth, modern scholarship emphasizes a more gradual transition that interests in nature, humanism, and individualism, often associated with the Renaissance, were already present in the late medieval period. This continuity is crucial. The Renaissance built upon the foundation laid by the medieval era, refining and expanding upon existing ideas. It was a period of renewed focus on classical antiquity, leading the advancement in perspective, realism, and the exploration of human experiences. So this laid the groundwork for the further artistic revolution that would define the modern era. Building on the developments of the Renaissance, we move into the era of Manierism. This artistic style, and emerging in Italy from the 1520s to around 1590, served as a bridge between the higher Renaissance and the Baroque period. So, Manierism derived from the Italian word maniera, meaning manner or style. It represents a deliberate departure from the naturalistic perfection that characterized the High Renaissance. It was a move towards a more stylized, artificial, and often settling aesthetics. So this shift was driven by a desire to explore new forms of artistic expression, moving away from the harmonious balance and idealized beauty of the Renaissance. We can break down Manierism into two primary periods. Early Manierism, which was decidedly anti-traditional, pushing against the established norms, lasting until around 1535, and then High Manierism, which evolved into a more antiquated, artificial, and courtly style. So, Parmigianino's Madonna with the long neck is a perfect example of High Manierism. Notice the elongated proportions, that elegant yet somewhat distorted figures. In the overall sense of artifice, these elements were central of the Mannerist aesthetic, reflecting a move away from the naturalism of the Renaissance and towards a more subjective and expressive style. So Baroque and Rococo styles from the 17th and 18th centuries featured intense ornamentation and the elaboration, starting with the Baroque. So the term Baroque originated from the Italian Barocco, meaning strange, absurd, or coarse. This reflects its initial reception as it deviated from the Renaissance ideals. Baroque worked as a dramatic, it characterized by the theatricality and emotional intensity, seeking to engage viewer on a several level. Example, the Wise Church of Germany. It is so also theatrical. The use of dramatic lighting, Dynamic compositions and expressive gesture creates a sense of spectacle and theatrical display, and it is emotional. So Baroque artists aim to evoke strong emotions from awe and wonder to fear and pity. So moving to the Rococo. The term Rococo is derived from the French rocaille, referring to the shell-like ornamentation. Rococo is light. It characterizes pastel colors, delicate brushes, and all overall sense of lightness and airiness. It is elegant, emphasizing refinement, grace, and sophistication, reflecting aristocratic taste. And it's also playful. So Rococo art often depicts scenes of amusement and entertainment, capturing the spirit of lightheartedness and frivolity. So example, Jean-Antoine Watteau's The Fest of Love, 1718 to 19.
Neoclassicism, flourishing from the mid-18th to the early 19th century, was reaction against the ornate Rococo style driven by the ideals of the Enlightenment. It sought to revive the simplicity, order, and reason of classical Greek and Roman art and culture. And also, neoclassicism in art is characterized by clean lines, balanced composition, and a preference for historical and mythological themes. One of example of Neoclassicism artwork is The School of Athens by Raphael in 1509 to 1511. And the second one is Romanticism, a powerful artistic and intellectual movement from the late 18th to the mid-19th century, emerged as a passionate reaction against the order and rationality of classicism and the Enlightenment. It championed emotion, imagination, and individuality, celebrating the subjective experience and the power of human spirit. And here is the characteristic of Romanticism. Romanticism places a premium on feeling, exploring the full spectrum of human emotion from joy and love to despair, and it was a movement that valued the experience of strong emotion. Imagination was seen as a powerful force capable of transcending the limitation of reason. The last one is artists and writers explore the realms of fantasy, myth, and the supernatural. And one of example of Romanticism artwork is Wander Above the Sea of Fog by Gaspar David Friedrich. Realism in art is generally the attempt to represent subject matter truthfully without artificiality and avoiding speculative and supernatural elements. The term is often used interchangeably with naturalism, although these terms are not synonymous. Realism and naturalism, like they mean the same thing, but they're not exactly the same. Because naturalism is more about how things look, it is about making them look super realistic. And Renaissance paintings where they figure out how to make things look 3D. While realism predicated upon naturalistic representation and a departure from the idealization of earlier academic art, often refers to a specific art historical movement that originated in France in aftermath of the French Revolution of 1848. And Impressionism originated with a group of Paris-based artists who, facing rejection from the established art institution, organized independent exhibitions that brought their innovative styles to prominence during the 1870s and 1880s. And one of the examples of Impressionism artwork is Impression Sunrise by Claude Monet. Post-Impressionism. Post-Impressionism was an artistic evolution, a stepping stone that followed the vibrant, light-filled world of Impressionism. It was not a single unified style, but rather a collection of individual approaches that share a common goal to move beyond the mere capturing of fleeting impressions. It flourished really between 1886 and 1905, a period marking the transition from the last impressionist exhibition to the emergence of Fauvism. And one of example of artwork of post-impressionism is a Centennial of Independence by Rosie French.
Good day everyone, my name is Andy Tagibaw and today we will talk about Neo-Impressionism, Art Nova, Fauvism, Cubism, and Futurism. First, let's talk about Impressionism or Neo-Impressionism. Impressionism refers to the movements of French during the late 19th centuries that reacted to the empirical realism of Impressionism. Neo-Impressionism is the name given to the post-impressionist work of George and their follower who, inspired by optical theory, painted using tiny adjacent daubs of primary color to create the effect of light. The Impressionist painters spontaneously recorded natures in terms of fugitive effect of light, of color and light. The Neo-Impressionists applied scientific optic principles of light and color to create the formalized composition. Their technique is called divisionism. The term divisionism originated in descriptions of Juara, painted techniques in which paint was applied to the canvas in dots and constructing pigment. A calculated arrangement of color dots based on optical science was intended to be perceived by the retina as a single image. The entire canvas was covered with these dots which define form without the use of line and bats all objects in an intense vibrating light. Next is Art Nouveau. Art Nouveau is an ornamental style of art that flourished primarily in Europe and North America between 1890 and 1910. It influenced architectures, interior design, jewelry and glass design, posters, and illustration. Art Nouveau is a French term which translates as a new art in English. It was called new art because it was a deliberate attempt to modernize design by creating a new styles that free from the historic imitations that dominated much of 19th century art and design. Art Nouveau, due to inspiration from both organic and geometric forms that create elegant flowing designs, resembles the stems, vines, tendrils, blossoms, and flowers of plants. In Art Nouveau, colors tend to be muted and somber. Mustards, sage green, olive greens, and browns. The next one is Fauvism. Fauvism was a short-lived but influential art movement that emerged in France and was popular from 1904 to 1908. Its name derives from the French word fauves, that means the wild beast. It was characterized by the use of bold and bright colors and non-naturalistic brushwork to create work that both expressive and decorative. The founders are Henri Matisse and André Duras. These artists, they were interested in creating more spontaneous and expressive kind of painter. And they used color to capture the sensations of light and atmosphere. Fauvist painting often depict landscapes, still lifes, and portrait. But they focus on the vivid and bridal use of color rather than on accurately rendering the subject matter. Two-dimensional field with geometric form and flat. This is Cubism, one most important art movements of the 20th century, founded by Pablo Picasso and George Braque. Cubism is an art movement that originated in the early 20th century, particularly in France, and it's known for its unique styles that emphasizes geometric shapes and multiple perspectives. Cubism characterized by the use of geometric shapes such as cubes, cones, and spheres to represent objects and figures. The movement sought to break away from traditional artist styles and techniques and to create a new form of visual expressions. And here is one of the examples. The next one is Futurism. Futurism is the early 20th century's avant-garde movement that originated in Italy, founded by the poet Filippo Tommaso Marinetti, published in 1909. Marinettis coined the word futurism to reflect his goals of discarding the art of the past and celebrating train's originality and innovation in cultures and society. Marinetti's manifesto glorified the new technology of automobile and the beauty of its speed, power, and movement. And that's all, everyone. Thank you for listening.